Hi, this is Terri Levine, the Business Growth Guru. And today we're going to talk about the key strategic indicators that really gauge how successful your business is. One mistake that I see from so many entrepreneurs is that they're not looking at key indicators. Sometimes they're looking sporadically, sometimes they're not looking at all. And in order to get ahead and to know how to plan, in order to know what you need to do to be successful and what's working and what's not quite right yet, you really need to make sure that you have regular metrics that you're looking at in your business. I want you to think as if you're a much larger organization. Let's think of Microsoft. Microsoft clearly has key measures. You need to have key measures in order to get to be a Microsoft or any other kind of business. You must constantly be looking at these metrics so that you can gauge what's happening in your business. You wouldn't get in a car and just drive it without looking at the gas tank and looking to make sure you had oil. Every successful company that I know of, and I don't, without exception, measures what's happening in their business. They don't just go by the seat of their pants and sort of wing it and hope that things work out, but they have a process, they have a system, and they have certain things that they look at regularly, very systematically, to see how they're doing, how they're growing, to make sure that they're achieving their goals and achieving their targets, and they're going to be successful. So again, I want you to start thinking as a big business. No matter how big you are, I want you to think even bigger. You've got to think about where you are and the vision of where you want to get. And metrics are going to help you very quickly improve your business, improve your growth, improve how much money you can make, which is really important. Most businesses use the same types of key indicators, whether you're a retailer or a physician or an attorney or a consultant. We want to use the same indicators because our purpose in using indicators is to be able to make timely decisions. If we react too late, we're going to miss an opportunity. If we were not paying attention to the quote recession, then we're going to have a loss of business. But if we're making key indicators and looking at them on a regular basis, we can quickly make changes and we can keep up with what's happening in our business at a fast pace so that we don't have a lot of dips. We want to have a nice even-keeled business and a business that's growing. So I recommend that whatever your business practice is today, you begin to create a system or a process for looking at key indicators that are going to tell you how on track you are, at reaching your goals. And you want these to be honest and sincere. How am I doing today? I also like to know, how was I doing in the past? I like to take a look at where I was, just like driving that car. Where did I start? How far have I come? And how well am I going towards where my end result is, where my car is driving? How likely am I to get to that end result? And I only know that, again, I'm thinking of a car, if I watch the indicators. Do I have enough fuel? Do I have enough oil? Did I make sure that I had antifreeze or whatever it might be? You've got to check everything in your business on a regular basis. So again, I'm looking for a system. I'm looking for a process that you do on a regular basis and that you measure, again, where you were, where you are today, and where you're going. Please don't forget to measure where you've been. Some people don't measure this. And I think as a business owner, we really need to see what our growth has been, even if it's small, but in most cases, it's more than we even thought it was. How have we grown as a business? How can we continue growing? So don't just jump in and say, okay, we're going to start key indicators and look at metrics because Terri said it's a good idea, we'll start today. But go back. See how you've been growing and how you've been improving, and celebrate, acknowledge, and reward yourself and your company for those gains. And then you can start your key measures going forward, okay? So please do that. I know a lot of people like to jump right in and get going. I do think taking a look behind you is smart too. Now, these key measures are likely going to give you a much better chance of reaching your financial performance goals. if you've been going along without measuring them, the fact you achieved anything is really great. But if you want to achieve a higher success rate and have your company be around long term and really grow your company and make a lot of money, then you're going to want to take a look at the leading indicators, the key indicators, on a very regular basis, because they allow you to make those quick changes, those quick shifts. They allow you to see, okay, this isn't quite going right. I have to step in, I have to intervene, I have to change something to make it more right. So here's the real beauty of it. You can make those changes very, very quickly. If you're looking at the indicators, I look at them every Friday, but if you're looking at them once a week, you can go, oh, I got to change that. That's why you want to make sure that you have a system or a plan to look at this every single week. And I really recommend that you do it in some routine way. You might do it with your team, you might do it by yourself, but these numbers are so important. They help you gauge the progress, and even if there's a problem area, that's also great, because instantly you can say, okay, I need to change something. Think of the indicators as being quantifiable and being measurable. We don't guess at these things. These are actual hardcore numbers that over time we're working towards improving more and more and growing. And right now we're looking at indicators as a way to assess, again, regularly, I suggest weekly, to assess how are we doing. Here's our goal. How far are we towards the goal? You know, think about this. If you were going to lose 20 pounds, you'd get on the scale probably once a week to see how it was going, right? You'd have a preset target. I want to lose 20 pounds, and then you would track it, I'm guessing, weekly by getting on a scale and saying, oh, I lost 2 pounds or 5 pounds, I only have 10 more to go, whatever it might be. It's the same precision that you have in your life of tracking your goals, like weight loss, that I'm asking you to bring to your business. I'm asking you as a decision maker and any other decision makers on your team to be responsible for tracking these numbers. And I will say to you, I also recommend, if you have several departments, that you have the departments track these numbers. So it could be sales department, production, operations, marketing, whatever it might be. Any department, you could also do it by product line if you had several different products. If you have locations, then maybe you have stores or you're a doctor with many offices, you can do it by geographic location. If you have sales reps in your company, it's another thing that you can do. You can also do it by sales rep. So it's up to you to begin to think about the best way to divide the metrics up. So what exactly are we measuring, and what are we taking a look at, and what are the key indicators? Now, I'm going to ask you to listen to the ones that I recommend, but not to take these as these are the only ones, there's nothing else to measure. You need to really look at your own business and ask, is there anything else that I should be monitoring? Is there anything that in my impact financially and looked at on a regular basis? Okay, the first one is probably going to be very obvious to you, but obviously we want to track revenue, right? And if you have salespeople, you track revenue per salesperson. If you have websites, revenue per page. It's important to know the average sales cycle. How long does it take till somebody buys? So that's something else that I recommend you track in your business. I also recommend you track the average transaction size. I recommend you track how long a customer or a client stays with you. I recommend you track the lifetime value of a client or customer. I recommend you track employee turnover. I recommend that you also calculate the lifetime value of a customer. So for example, if a customer pays you $100 a month and on average stays with you 10 years, you do 100 times 12 times 10 to see what the average lifetime value is. If you're opening various operations, what's the average ramp-up time, till you get something ready to go, or if you're releasing product, how long does that take? What is the average administrative time that's spent per item? So for example, we do our newsletter, Profit with T, and I look at how long does it take each component of that to get done? What percent of time am I asking my assistants to allocate? If you have salespeople, you may want to measure the metrics of how long does it take for them to start a sale to close a sale. Okay, in physical time, not how long does the customer take, how long is your sales process? So if you have a sales quota, you want to understand how many hours a day does it take a person to get there. Don't forget, you're going to tweak these to your business as well. What is the average time it takes to close a deal or close a sale? Or what is the average time it takes to put up a lead generation page or to send out an e-zine or to send out a newsletter? What is the average price discount that you need to give to perhaps get someone to buy? Or what is the average discount that you're giving at the current time to get someone to buy? What percent of sales, in other words, are you knocking off or giving away? So these are just some examples, but accurate forecasting and looking at key indicators like this will show you opportunities in your business that you never saw before. I'll give you a quick example. I talk a lot about the average lifetime value of a client. And I work with a beauty salon owner, and it was a Friday afternoon, and she was on her way home and closing up the shop, ready to go home and just done with the day. And she got a phone call, and it was a very good customer who said, "It's urgent. I'm 10 minutes from the shop. Can you just please give me a trim? It's just urgent." And she thought about it, and she thought, there's no way. It's a Friday afternoon. I want to get home. I want to spend time with my kids. No. And so she said no. And the woman never came back. And I said to her, how much was the average haircut that she spent with you? And I think she said $25. And I said, how often did she come? She said, once a month. And forget the fact that her family also came, 2 members of her family. Let's forget that for a minute. So I said, okay, so $25 she spends with you once a month. So 25 times 12, right? And how many years has she been coming to you? Where do you get that? She said 15 years. I said, do the math. You didn't lose a $25 haircut. So we would not be able to understand how long it takes to close a sale or how much money it costs us to establish things if we weren't looking at numbers like the average lifetime value of a client. So I'm going to ask you to begin your tracking, systematize it, make it a process, be consistent, and then when you see dips and you see something not quite right, you can fix it immediately. Here's to your success.